Today, we're going to look at why smell has such a unique relationship with grief, what happens inside the brain when these moments occur, and why one familiar scent can unlock an entire lifetime of memories. When we think about memories, it's tempting to imagine pictures stored like photographs in an album, but the brain doesn't work that way. Instead, every experience you have is distributed across a network of different brain regions. Think of it less like saving a photograph and more like creating a constellation where each star represents a different piece of information. And remembering someone we love means reactivating that entire network. Your loved one's face is represented in visual areas of the brain. Their voice activates the auditory cortex. The way they smelled activates the olfactory system. The warmth you felt when they hugged you involves touch processing regions, and the emotions you experience together involve the amygdala. And tying all those pieces together is a structure called the hippocampus. You can think of the hippocampus as your brain's librarian. It doesn't store every detail itself. Instead, it keeps track of where all those pieces are kept and links them into a single memory. One of the hippocampus's most remarkable abilities is what neuroscientists call pattern completion. Imagine hearing only the opening notes of your favourite song. Within seconds, your brain fills in the rest. Memory works in much the same way. If just one part of a memory network becomes activated, the hippocampus can reconstruct the entire experience. That's why a single smell can trigger the person's face, their voice, their personality, the emotions you shared, even the physical feeling of being with them. In other words, your brain isn't simply recalling a smell, it's reconstructing an entire relationship. That's one reason why these experiences can feel so incredibly vivid. It's strange in a way that the sense of smell can play this role. We often downplay smell as one of our least important senses. After all, we depend much more on vision and hearing to understand the world. Yet, when it comes to autobiographical memory, which is your brain's record of your own life, smell may be our most powerful sense. All of our senses can trigger memories. A song or a photograph can transport you back to your wedding day or a childhood holiday. But smell seems to have a unique emotional intensity. Part of the reason lies in the way the brain is wired. The olfactory system has unusually close connections with brain regions involved in emotion and autobiographical memory, including the amygdala and the hippocampus. Those close connections mean that smells often evoke feelings before we've even had a chance to consciously identify what we're smelling. It's only afterwards that you realise that smells like a loved one. In other words, your emotional brain was responding before your thinking brain had caught up. That's why a particular perfume or a certain laundry detergent can instantly transport you back years, causing you to suddenly feel emotional before you've even realised that the scent reminds you of a loved one. You don't consciously decide to remember, the memory simply arrives. When we think about recognising someone, we usually think about their face or their voice, but philosophers Becky Miller and Louise Richardson argue that every person has what they call an olfactory air. It's not simply perfume or aftershave, it's the unique blend of their skin, shampoo, laundry detergent, coffee, home, perhaps even the scent of the dog that curls up beside them every evening. You aren't consciously memorising these smells. Your brain is simply learning them through repeated exposure until they become part of that person's identity. Over the years, your brain quietly learns this chemical fingerprint without you consciously trying. That may be one reason why smelling a loved one's pillow or a favourite jumper can feel so different from simply looking at a photograph. Researchers sometimes call this the Proust Phenomenon, after Marcel Proust's famous description of his childhood memories unexpectedly returning after tasting a madeleine dipped in tea. Like Proust, you're not deliberately remembering, the memory just arrives on its own. For someone grieving, this can feel incredibly vivid. Sometimes people even wonder whether they've actually smelled their loved one. When a smell activates enough of that network, your brain briefly recreates an internal model of the person. That can produce a powerful feeling of presence. This links to another fascinating idea from neuroscience, which is that your brain isn't simply reacting to the world, it's constantly predicting it. If you've lived with someone for 30 years, your brain expects to hear their footsteps, smell their aftershave or perfume, or hear them answer from another room. Death changes reality overnight, but the brain's prediction mechanisms take much longer to change. For weeks, months, and sometimes years, your nervous system is still updated one of the deepest models it has ever built. That's why grieving people may briefly think they hear their loved one's voice or catch a familiar scent and instinctively look around. The brain isn't malfunctioning, it's gradually adapting to a new reality. People often ask whether they should avoid sensory triggers, and the answer depends. Immediately after a loss, you may need some distance from painful reminders, but over time, allowing yourself to experience these sensory memories can be a source of comfort and help you to integrate the loss. Psychoanalyst Juliette Rosenfeld recounted how in the early days of her grief, she would sit in the wardrobe and inhale the smell of her late husband's unwashed shirts. That said, not every sensory memory is comforting. Some can trigger intense sadness, anxiety, or even panic. This is especially true after traumatic losses. A hospital smell might activate not only memories, but also the body's stress response. If sensory triggers cause severe distress, interfere with daily life, or remain just as intense many months later, then you may benefit from speaking with a mental health professional. On the other hand, some people worry that if they stop having these sensory memories, they'll forget the person. But that's not usually what happens. Grief changes. In the beginning, memories often arrive without warning, whereas later, they're more likely to come when you intentionally think about the person. The relationship doesn't disappear, it evolves. Over time, those sudden moments often become less painful and more bittersweet. If you've ever caught a familiar scent, and for a moment felt as though someone you loved had come back into the room, you're not imagining it. Your brain isn't just remembering a smell, it's reconstructing an entire relationship. The conversations, the laughter, the ordinary moments that quietly became extraordinary. Perhaps that's one of the most remarkable things neuroscience has taught us about grief. Love doesn't simply create memories, it changes the very architecture of the brain. Which is why years later, the smell of your father's aftershave, your grandmother's perfume, or the smell of your partner's shirts can still make it feel, if only for a moment, as though they've just walked back into the room. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And if you'd like more videos exploring the psychology behind grief, trauma, and emotional well-being, please consider subscribing to the channel.